go.
All right, let's shift gears here, guys. I want to talk about the most underrated Packers in 2025. All right, going into this year, who do you think is going to be the most underrated Packer? Like, and what I mean by this is, as you go into this season, it's someone that maybe people aren't talking as much about, right? Or maybe they're down on them last year and they're, as the title says, underrated. And you think, hey, they're going to come out this year and just ball out, and it's really going to make a difference for the Packers. All right. If you got any questions on that topic, let me know. But let's go around the horn with that. All right. Like, if you don't truly understand the question, Jacob's looking at me like I got three heads right now. Jacob, we'll start with you since you look confused. Who is your most underrated Packer of 2025?
Well, I guess I was looking because I thought I should maybe go last because it'd be very suspenseful and it'd be such a cool. No, it's not. It's not that cool. I'm going with Matt LaFleur. It just, to me, I wanted to originally go with Keyshawn Nixon, but Emilio laughed at me in the chat, so I said, all right, never mind. I'm going to change my answer real quick. And then I said Matt LaFleur, and that actually kind of made sense. So I tried to pull up some quick stats, like really quick stats. The guy just has never gotten his flowers. When he first came to Green Bay, it was in January 8th of 2019, and everybody said, well, he's got Aaron Rodgers. It was kind of similar to when Caleb Williams walked into the perfect situation. They said, Matt LaFleur is inheriting such a great team. He's got good talent. He's got Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Fame quarterback, blah, blah, blah. They go 13-3 that first year. He's the first rookie head coach in Packers history to win 10 games, make to the playoffs, win the NFC North, going 6-0 during that. By the way, he has the most rookie wins of any coach since Harbaugh did it in 2018. By the way, he's got a winning percentage of .648. That's the fourth active streak right now. You compare that to a guy like, I don't know, that would be one of the best of all time. Vince Lombardi had a .738. And the guy just has had no attention, the media-wise. Every single top 10 head coach list you see, he is not anywhere on that list. Anytime you see him talked about in the media, it kind of says that he's, had great success with Jordan, but he doesn't get any credit for whatever reason, because they say it's, it was when Rodgers was there, it was because he has a Hall of Fame quarterback. When Rodgers leaves, it's because, well, they've got, the front office and Goody, and they invested into the quarterback room, and they've got finally a first-round wide receiver, blah, 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 blah. He's done nothing but, and don't be wrong, I don't think Matt LaFleur is perfect in any way, but the guy is a scheme wizard. And I think that he went from aw shucks Matt LaFleur to almost what I would say is too confident, too cocky belt strap Matt LaFleur. But I kind of like it. If I got to
call it Tupac LaFleur.
Tupac LaFleur. That dude's dishing out fish sandwiches, right? So
just the tip though.
So, wow, that was a good drop. So I would just have to say that starting us off, I'll take a little bit of an obscure note and I'll say we got to give a little love to Matt LaFleur. That's my answer.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I love it. I love that he shook things up going with the head coach, because obviously we had at the heart of the question is thinking about which Packers, but I think it's spot on, Jacob. I mean, that dude, what Matt LaFleur has done for this franchise is unbelievable. It's still wild that he's not talked about as one of the better coaches in the league. I would venture to say he is the highest winning percentage of any coach in NFL history that has never won Coach of the Year. I would feel comfortable saying that. Yeah. Like you got to kind of compare apples to apples and look at the active coaches. Like Nick Sirianni, did he win it last year or was it someone else? I'm thinking Sirianni won it one year, but I could be wrong there.
Pretty sure it was Sirianni and it was obviously Chiefs Andy Reid, and there was one other guy in front of him. But yeah, every single one of those guys, I'm pretty sure for sure has won Coach of the Year.
Yeah. All right, Emilio, what about you, man? Who's your most underrated Packer of 2025?
Kevin O'Connell won the award this past year.
So did Sirianni? I'm going to see if he ever won Coach of the Year here.
Jacob had 22 players to pick from, and he picked the coach. Love it. I have Jordan Morgan on the board. I talked about O-line in the previous segment. I think that it's going to be completely, relying on where this offense goes. If you don't have those five protecting the QB, protecting your backs, there's going to be an issue. Swiss cheese is a problem. We cannot have penalties. We can't have snap issues when it's loud, when we're on the road. We can't have silent count issues. Can't have holding penalties. All these things need to be ex-nayed and fixed. Jordan Morgan, we had a 52.9 overall PFF grade last year, 79th out of 136 guards. Pass blocking grade of 61.5 and a run blocking grade of 56.2. Only played about 185 snaps. So, didn't get a lot of burn, had to fight through some injuries. I think coming back this year out of that rookie season, get through your injury, know the offense. You've been through what an NFL offseason is, and you kind of can get your feet under you and get rolling this year. I think that, you get in there, you just fight for your position. You don't think you're a starter right now. You have no idea. You got to fight through Sean Ryan, whoever else, be a backup tackle, whatever. But I think that we do have a good player on our hands. I think get him through this injury. We'll see where he goes. His snaps this year, 65 at left guard, 120 at right guard. So let's get this dude on the field a little bit more.
All right, Emilio's going with Jordan Morgan. What about you, Tim? What are you thinking here, Big Dog?
I'm going to go with that guy from Kentucky, Carrington Valentine, man. I feel like there's been a lot of talk about our secondary, particularly cornerback room, since the departure of Jair. And I just feel like maybe I don't think I'm alone, because I know you're pretty high on CV as well, Clayton. And I know Emilio's got a lot of love for him too, Jacob as well. But feels like the fan base as a whole is kind of sleeping on our boy. And I think this is the year he's poised for a breakout season. The Jair Alexander circus has left town. And, for all intents and purposes, it's CV's room. If he can step up and take on that role and have a breakout year, I think he's going to prove to be more of the underrated Packers. A seventh-round pick, I believe, brought into the fold. Certainly doesn't play football like a seventh-round pick. And I think year 3 is going to be, poised for success for CV. That's my pick.
Yeah, with Carrington, man, the things that he did last year, it's amazing. People still don't understand. Like when you compare him to Jair Alexander's play on the field last year, they literally had the same amount of interceptions, right? Both had 2. Carrington gave up 0 touchdowns, while Jair gave up 2 touchdowns. And his passer rating when targeted, his being Carrington Valentine's, was the best on the team. The guy played as good as you would expect. And I know everybody's now referring to him as my guy, right? But if you rewind back to 2023, was I not the most anti-Carrington Valentine guy on this show? It's just like, looks like cheeks. Like, I wanted this Kentucky Wildcat to work out, but this don't look good.
That was back when he was wearing number 37.
Totally different, right?
Number, new mantra. Let's go.
And what he did last year, man, it's not too big for him. And playing that fisheye technique and just keeping his eye on the quarterback and being able to literally have a curl flat responsibility to break off in a deep third and pick the ball off. And I'm not talking about Jair, just completely abandoning his responsibility and going and getting the ball. This is a dude that he had his spot covered. Not only did he have his spot covered, but he's eyeing another spot as well when they're playing spot drop and not matchy top defense. So I'm with you with Carrington. All these have been great choices. They have. And I've got several that come to mind for me. I'm going to mention one on offense, and then I'm going to go to defense with one as well. On offense, though, Emmanuel Wilson.
Yes.
It's a good one.
I don't want to say this, but I'm going to. If Josh Jacobs were to go down with an injury, you would think, crap, we're screwed. That's one of the best running backs in the league. I feel really, really comfortable saying that if Josh Jacobs went down, Emmanuel Wilson would step in. And I'm not saying be as good as Josh Jacobs, but you wouldn't be like, crap, we can't run the football now. Based off what Emmanuel Wilson has shown, guys, it's every single year he seems to just kind of show up. Last year, he ended up he had 105 carries, I believe it was. If I'm looking at that correctly. I know he's in on 105 run plays, and there might have been some jet sweeps and whatnot. But the guy finished with an 82.9. His run grade was 86.3. 86.3. And I'll never forget the preseason game. I want to say it was against the Bengals. It was an A-gap left run. He bounces it across the formation, takes it outside. And I heard Gary Ellison on the Homer Hour say, what that kid Emmanuel Wilson did in that preseason game, I know it's preseason, that's not normal. And it's every time he gets his opportunity, he just seems to do the right thing. He seems to be he understands the system. He understands what his role is. His pass pro is getting better. He's catching the football better out of the backfield, and he's always been able to run the rock. That's one guy that sticks out to me. But on defense, you're going to love this one, Jacob. The most underrated is Brenton Cox Jr.
Thank you.
Like, what this dude What this dude did last year, and according to NFL Pro, he had the highest quarterback pressure percentage of anybody else on the team that wasn't a stack backer. You guys know stack backers are overly inflated because of the manipulation factor and kind of catching the offensive line off guard when you bring those scrape blitzes, those red dog blitzes, things like that. But looking at what he continues to do in Brenton Cox Jr., 67.2, right? And it's like not off the chart. You don't look at it and go, wow, this dude's an all-pro player. But every time he's on the field, you go back to the same year that Carrington struggled, right? That same year, Brenton Cox Jr. is like, man, he can rush the quarterback, but he doesn't play under control. He makes us very vulnerable against the run. And last year, you really seen him clean that up. You could tell that was an emphasis that Jeff Hafley put on this defense. Now you take him coming off of his best year, Brenton Cox Jr., and now you add DeMarcus Covington in to coach him, coming out of the Bill Belichick School of Defense. I'm telling you, man, the only thing that will hold Brenton Cox Jr. back will be lack of reps. If it's one of those situations where the Packers have kind of done this in the past where they'll hold guys back a little bit knowing they're going into a contract year, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope they give Brenton Cox Jr. as much of an opportunity to be that third rusher as anyone else on the roster. I really do. There's a chance that Barron Sorrell leapfrogs him because he's a fresh draft pick and Brenton Cox Jr. is, just kind of an undrafted guy. But if they give him the opportunities and allow him to use a pass rush move and then use a counter move and use another counter move and build up a little bit of repetition with his pass rush game, I'm telling you, man, I think Brenton Cox Jr. is really going to stick out this year. That's mine. That's the one I would choose. But I just wanted to mention Manuel Wilson because, man, running backs get banged up.
You know what? What I thought was a good comment here by John Johnson. He says, if Marshawn Lloyd studs out, we'll have the best running back duo in the league. I would push back on that, saying that I think we already do, John Johnson. It's just that the other guy is, like Clayton just talked about, it's Emmanuel Wilson.
And now you got a three-headed monster.
I was going to say, if anything, we've got ourselves maybe one of the most unknown. I think that would be the more like if we had a segment where it's like, who's the most unknown player going in? You have to talk about guys like probably Morgan, Lloyd, obviously all the new draft picks, but guys that we just haven't been able to see get their legs underneath them because injuries have plagued them. Maybe guys like Musgrave, that sort of thing. But man, I can't help but love the fact that Brenton Cox Jr. is legitimately starting to have some people put some respect on his name. Even when I can get Ryan to start talking about a UDFA, I'm starting to do something, man. I'm not ever going to let that fire die. Never.
All right. Anybody else you guys want to mention? Maybe one that was a close second for you? Anything like that comes to mind?
I just got one more point about my boy CV.
Yeah, man.
It's a blessing. The man turns 24 years old when this season starts, guys. He's 23, man, right now.
Yeah.
He'll be 24 in September, first week of September. So, don't sleep on CV, man. I've got a feeling that we have a star in the making here at the boundary corner spot.
The only other person I'd mention would be Carl Brooks, just because I'm pretty sure he hasn't missed a game for this team, and he was a fourth, fifth round pick from Bowling Green. I think that it's going to be something where he can step up. He's going to get a lot of reps this year. He's going to get a lot of playing time, and he's consistently on the field. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yep. What do you guys think about Ravawama Vinivalu's comment here where it says Zadarius Smith still a free agent? Worth a look, ?
I've got some thoughts.
Isn't Preston Smith is still too, right?
You got hold to the wrong stuff.
The only problem I have with that is the way he left Green Bay. Yeah. It was really, really ugly. If that hadn't happened, I think it'd be worth bringing him in, right? Kicking the tires, see if he's got a little gas in the tank. I think he can still play football. But I think what you're finding though with Zadarius is everywhere he goes, the team just kind of wants to move on. Y'all notice that? We got a saying down here: if everywhere you go it smells like crap, probably want to check your boot. You know what I mean? Everywhere he goes, it just seems like teams are like, okay, we're done with him. Let's move on. Didn't he go
in my mouth right there?
Didn't he go to Cleveland too? Am I thinking right, guys?
Yep.
So he spent time in Cleveland, Minnesota,
right?
And Detroit, right? Yeah. So he was in.
Nobody wants him.
He's just got to become a Bear to complete the trifecta of the NFC North.
Yeah. So, and again, the way he left, and I don't know if you guys caught on to this or not, but Matt LaFleur was on Bussin' with the Boys last year sometime, and he talked about an instant where he got stuck in a room with the player that was pissed off with him that they were letting go. that they were moving on from, and it got really, really confrontational, and it was just those two in there, like, oh crap, this dude's gonna beat the hell out of me type thing, because he's such a big guy, you can imagine. I think he was talking about Za'Darius. I could be wrong, but I think he was talking about Z there. So yeah.
Yep.
Coach Lynn says that bridge is burned. I agree, Coach. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad idea for the gentleman that brought that up. I think that's a great topic, a great question. I think that's what holds him back there. If it wasn't for that and how he exited and him just being like every team just kind of wanting to push him out the door so quick, I think he can play football. It's another Kentucky guy too. You think I'd be all over it, be a big Kentucky Wildcat fan, but yeah,
it's kind of the Jair factor with him too, right? Like he's still young enough, but he's getting older. And then it's like, how many games is he going to play? Is he going to play 8 or 9 games for you? He's dealt with back issues. He's had injury issues in the past. So it's not just about the bad taste in our mouth as Packer fans towards Za'Darius. It's also the fact that, when he's on the field and he's available, yeah, he can still play. I agree, Clayton. He can play at a high level, but how often is that, And we just went through that with Ja. I don't think we want to do it again.
And do you think he's going to be content being a 4th-round situational pass rusher that is maybe even less than that? Because like we just talked about, we're not going to give up snaps for LVN, Gary, even probably guys like my boy Cox and some of the new guys that we got on there. If Olivier or Oliver, if he tries to come in and has some spark to him, it's like I don't see Z being the type of team guy to come back to a team that he's already got beef with and just say, "Oh, I'm content just to play whenever you guys need me to play." I just don't see that in his personality.
I agree. H.E. Soda, I would rather develop a young guy than bring a guy like Z in.
Great point.
Yeah. Yep. Really, really good point. I like what Chase Green says here too. Barron Sorrell and Devontae White on that TE stunt is something I want to see. Barron Sorrell, man, his tape is fun to watch. It really is. Barron Sorrell is one of those dudes that, it's like we were in the bowl when they drafted him, and it's funny too because like we're sitting in the bleachers at Lambeau Field watching the draft when they drafted him. And I don't know about you guys, but Emilio, Tim, I didn't pick up on he's here. This is all dramatic and all this is going on. I'm looking around going, squirrel.
I was waiting for my chance to kick a field goal.
Right. You were.
It just didn't work out. Yeah.
So, but I say that because after that story